Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so yesterday was a really huge day in terms of Star Wars news. Disney Plus posted their 2023 promo showcase, and we got our first bit of public footage for the Ahsoka show. It was very short but so exciting. Well, today my dear Mandalorians, the hype train for 2023 continues, because a new still from Skeleton Crew has been circulating. It's been making the rounds and I want to give you my input. So in the picture we see Jude Law's character. He's clearly staying under the radar. Maybe he's running or hiding from someone or something. Making Star Wars.net recently said that his character is some kind of mentor or teacher to the group of kids lost in space, the ones who are trying to find their way back home. According to some of these leaks, the show explores what is known as the New Beyond. This place is bad news. It's outside of the known galaxy, and it's here that we find Jude Law's character when we meet him. For some reason, he's ended up in the unknown regions of space, and it's not just the kids trying to find their way home, it's him as well. He probably comes across them at some stage. He might even be from the same planet as one or two of them, and so, for whatever reason, they're going to group up. In trying to escape, they inadvertently explore this part of the Star Wars universe, go on a few adventures, and navigate their way back to safety, or at least, they try to. And in this way, many have suggested the name Skeleton Crew could have a double meaning. It could refer to both the crew, as in Jude Law and the kids, but also maybe something sinister out there in the unexplored regions of the galaxy. Who knows what lives out there? Some kind of army that Thrawn is raising, or maybe something else entirely different. Making Star Wars told us they don't believe the Grisk or the Yuuzhan Vong are part of this story, but that doesn't mean some other kind of monster or lurking threat couldn't show up. We've heard of the Night Sisters, but Jon and Dave probably have a few more surprises up their sleeves. This is a show I'm really looking forward to. Just from this shot alone, I can tell Skeleton Crew is going to explore some dark and unusual places and themes, all with the amazing promise of more aliens than in the other recent shows. We've really missed them in the Andor series and Kenobi. I mean, sure there were some, but not on this level. By the sounds of things, this show is bringing back the importance that aliens have in the Star Wars universe, not just as background characters. I mean, heck, we even suspect that one of the kids is an Ortolan. This is something different. It's nice to have variety and something refreshing. From this shot, I also get 1313 vibes, mixed in with Blade Runner and an overall steampunk aesthetic. Those of us who've seen his work know how talented Jude Law is, and it's clear from some of his recent work that he will suit a series like this one, something a bit more magical, fantastical, all within the context of Star Wars. I really cannot wait to see what he brings to the role, but I'm certainly rooting for him, and I've got my fingers crossed that this show delivers. We're often so focused on The Mandalorian or Ahsoka as the 2023 release, the big ones, but we forget Skeleton Crew. I've had my eye on this one since Star Wars Celebration and again at D23. Something else intriguing about this still is why Jude Law's character is running in the first place. Why is he hiding? Does the Imperial Remnant, you know, the ones like Moff Gideon, have some kind of presence out there, or maybe some kind of jurisdiction, a fake jurisdiction? Could what they're doing out there be the key to the rise of the First Order, away from the prying eyes of the New Republic? And if so, did Jude Law's character come across something he wasn't supposed to? Maybe a cloning facility or something like that? Or maybe Jude Law's character is a wanted man, a known fugitive with a bounty on his head. So many questions. Now, while speculating what we can deduce from this shot, some fans suggested that Jude Law might be a younger version of Lor San Tekka, the old guy on Jakku we meet at the start of The Force Awakens. Now, while personally I don't believe this theory, and I will say I think Jude Law's character is entirely different, this theory does hold some weight, not only in terms of age, but Lor San Tekka was an explorer of the galaxy, and someone obsessed with the Force. He was not a Force sensitive, but worshipped the Force as part of a group known as the Church of the Force. During the time of the New Republic, and therefore the Mandalorian, San Tekka found Jedi lore that the Empire tried to suppress, and his knowledge of the galaxy and its history was very useful to the New Republic, and he's also known to have explored the darkest parts of the galaxy. So could Jude Law be playing a younger version of Lor San Tekka? Maybe. I don't think so, but anything is possible. And so now guys, staying on the subject of Skeleton Crew, we have some more tidbits for the show, particularly concerning the hotel that Making Star Wars mentioned is gonna appear the other day, and this also connects to the aliens of the show too. So they say, last week I mentioned the ensemble cast of Skeleton Crew follows the teacher to quote, opulent places. Many of you picked up on this and asked me what it means. Well, the truth is, I barely know, but they do know it concerns a hotel. They say Jude Law's teacher character and the crew are guests at this hotel, at at some point in the series, the people at this location are, quote, Canto Bight rich, and the crew either stays at, intends to stay at, or passes through this location. Those are the facts, so they don't know if they're going to be permanent guests or just passing through it. But they say this opulent hotel appears to be one of the larger shooting locations for the first season of Skeleton Crew, so who knows, there might be more than one season. That is really exciting. The sequence is big, lots of costumes were made for the rich guests and servants of this set and location. And I've got to say, it seems as though Lucasfilm really liked doing the rich alien sort of thing. We not only saw it in The Last Jedi, but also in the Andor series, on Coruscant and Mon Mothma's apartment. They go on to say, this sequence at the hotel is really expansive, and it's going to be a really important plot device. But Making Star Wars do confirm that details are sparse, very little is known, and sources involved in the sequence are only now starting to talk, so probably more to come. Then they go into some speculation. They say, I have more questions than answers at this moment. My mind imagines a teacher taking a few star pupils to an academic conference in the ballroom of this luxury hotel. They then say that pirates, and remember the other day I mentioned Hondo Ohnaka, begin attacking the hotel, and this is where the adventure of the kids and Jude Law's character truly begins. During the escape, the teacher and the kids end up in the far reaches of unexplored space, being pursued by the pirates, and this is because maybe they've saved an artifact or just made enemies with the pirates in the process of the adventure. They then put forward another theory, which they're not too confident on, but it is a possibility. And this is the idea that the hotel plays into the end of the series, when the kids are done with their adventure, and they celebrate their glory and fortune at this hotel, but it's very doubtful at this time. Because based on what Jason and Making Star Wars heard, the hotel is going to be earlier in the series, so it's going to be the catalyst that begins their adventure, or at least that's the current speculation. But Making Star Wars imagine that money is going to be the meat and bones of the series, instead of it being the payoff. And another theory they posit is something we've talked about in the past. The idea of this hotel being haunted for a spooky horror episode. In a previous video, I put forward the idea that Skeleton Crew could have a lot of horror elements to it. And as such, the show to a large extent could be a reformulation of a classic Star Wars book, a Legends novel titled Death Troopers. I'm not the first to suggest this, but it is an interesting theory that's worth exploring. Now I should say, if they do draw from it, it's not going to be exactly the same. Joe Schreiber's book focuses on pre-episode 4, whereas Skeleton Crew, of course, is post-Return of the Jedi. In the novel, Han and Chewie are on a prison barge that quickly gets overrun with a deadly virus. Those infected by the virus become zombies after they die, firing off errant blaster bolts as a means of chasing down the collective prey, who by the way largely managed to escape alive. And while this sort of virus is explored elsewhere in Legends, this is its original publication, and as a sort of very obscure horror-like galactic threat, this could definitely be reintroduced in Skeleton Crew. For those of us who are fans of the Clone Wars, you might remember the concept was explored to some extent in the episode Blue Shadow Virus from Season 1, an engineered bioweapon threatened the lives of many main characters. In Season 2's Legacy of Terror, the Geonosians are revealed to be able to act as drones while dead due to their connection to the collective hive mind, and it's even stated that Geonosian parasites can pass the condition to other species. This kind of thing, if done in live action, could be absolutely mortifying. Outside of Death Troopers and all of its gore, Skeleton Crew might play upon the very popular suspense genre that has seen recent prominence across streaming services. The reason I love the cloning plot idea that I mentioned last time is that in this show, where we have no real expectations, it can take on a more experimental nature, one that takes risks that we've not seen before in Star Wars. The comics also began exploring the concept, as might The Bad Batch and Jedi Survivor, but the period between the original trilogy and the sequels is a very long time to explore what could have happened. Give us something really twisted, maybe a crazy Strandcast or Prototype who is the literal bane of the crew's existence. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow. May the Force be with you always.